It was this time of the year where Quincy Wilson really set the world ablaze. He's coming down a home stretch with Bryce Deadman. We'll see if he can hold him off.
Wilson and Deadman digging for the line. The 17-year-old Quincy Wilson holds Deadman off, and Quincy Wilson the win in 44-14 unofficially.
Just when the world thought sprinting couldn't get more exciting, a 17-year-old high schooler named Quincy Wilson shattered expectations again. On July 13, 2025, at the Ed Murphey Classic in Memphis, Wilson clocked a jaw-dropping 44.10 seconds in the 400 meters. Not only did he take down his own previous under-18 world best of 44.20, but he also sent a message loud and clear. The future of American sprinting is already here. To put it in perspective, this time ties Wilson as the fourth fastest man in the world for 2025 so far, and second fastest ever by a U20 athlete. He dominated a senior-level field that included Olympic gold medalist Stephen Gardner and top American Bryce Deadman. Wilson didn't just win, he won by 0.29 seconds, a huge margin in the 400 meters. And it wasn't just the numbers. Wilson ran with poise beyond his years. Starting in lane 5, he took control early and surged down the final stretch like a seasoned pro. For a high schooler to win a professional race of this caliber is rare. To do it with a personal best is something else entirely. Quincy Wilson's name first caught fire during the 2024 U.S. Olympic trials. At just 16, he ran 44.66 seconds, breaking the U.S. high school record. He backed it up with 44.59 in the semis, setting a World U18 best. And while he didn't qualify individually for the Olympics, Team USA couldn't ignore his speed. They brought him to Paris as part of the 4x400-meter relay squad. He ran the opening leg in the heats, helping Team USA qualify for the final. They went on to win gold, making Quincy the youngest American male track and field Olympian to earn a gold medal. Now, just a year later, he's going even faster. Wilson, who trains at Bully School in Potomac, Maryland, is not your typical teenager. He juggles schoolwork with a professional-level training regimen. Coach Joe Lee has built a program that pushes him physically and mentally, with sessions focused on technique, speed endurance, and recovery. His rise through the ranks has been steady. In April 2024, he ran a 45.19 at the Florida Relays. Then came his series of record-breaking performances at the Holloway Pro Classic and Olympic trials. And most recently, in Memphis, his 44.1 stunned even the most experienced analysts. But Quincy's growth isn't just physical. With over 390,000 Instagram followers and rising fame, he's learning to navigate life in the spotlight. That maturity is rare, and it's exactly why so many are calling him the next big thing in track and field. Wilson's relay heroics in Paris, his battles with older athletes, and his record-breaking performances aren't just anomalies. They're signs that something special is unfolding. Quincy is entering the U.S. trials for the World Championships in Tokyo in a few weeks, and the question isn't whether he belongs, it's whether anyone can stop him. The 400-meter landscape in the U.S. has shifted. With big names like Michael Norman facing injuries and others moving to different events, the door is wide open. Quincy's timing couldn't be better. He's been running grown man times, as some have said, while still being a full-time high school student. Wilson's legacy is building faster than anyone anticipated. As he prepares for the next leg of his season, he remains focused. Will he compete in college or go pro? That decision looms, but either way, Wilson's path is historic. College recruiters are watching, but so are sponsors and pro teams. He's already working with New Balance through a NIL deal, a sign that his future may lie beyond the NCAA. For now, Quincy Wilson is chasing greatness. His story is one of raw talent, work ethic, and unshakable focus. And at just 17, he's already making the sport of track and field feel brand new again. His training is intense, structured around interval work, technical drills, and strength training. A typical week for Wilson might include 300-meter repeats, sprint drills focusing on transition zones, plyometrics, and resistance workouts. Every session is logged and analyzed by his coach. Recovery is just as important. Ice baths, stretching, and proper nutrition are all part of the plan. And that plan is clearly working. Quincy's progression is historic. He set a world U18 record 3 times in under a year, first at the Olympic trials with 44.59, again with 44.20 at the Holloway Pro Classic, and now 44.10 in Memphis. He's climbing toward the U20 world record of 43.87 set by Steve Lewis in 1988. In addition to his sprinting, Wilson's attitude and mindset have stood out. He's grounded. After his Olympic gold, he didn't boast. Instead, he highlighted his family, crediting their support. It was an amazing moment. I had my family, mom, dad, sister, grandma, her sisters, and a lot of family in the stands. I wasn't 100% myself, but my team came out here and did it for me, he said. Quincy Wilson is living proof that age is just a number. He's not intimidated by pro fields. In fact, he's starting to dominate them. His presence at the Ed Murphey Classic was more than a highlight. It was the headline. When Olympic champion Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone pulled out, Quincy became the main attraction. And he delivered. As the 2025 World Championships approach, experts are wondering, can he medal? The way things are trending, it's not a long shot, it's a real possibility. Track and field is a sport that rarely offers overnight success. It demands consistency, mental strength, and physical durability. Quincy has shown all 3. And unlike many teen prodigies, he's not burning out. He's getting stronger. He's not just an athlete. He's a symbol of what's possible when talent, opportunity, and preparation collide. And whether he continues in college or signs with a pro team, the world will be watching. This 17-year-old just broke the 400-meter world best for U18 athletes again. And if the last 12 months are any clue, he's not finished yet. The Quincy Wilson story is still being written, and each chapter is more incredible than the last. So the next time you hear his name, remember this moment. Because Quincy Wilson isn't just running races, he's running into history. And what truly sets Quincy apart is his mindset. Despite the pressure, the expectations, and the media frenzy, he remains composed. He often speaks about visualization, mentally rehearsing each race before it even happens. It's a technique used by elite athletes, and for Quincy, it's a game changer. His coach describes him as relentless in training, always seeking feedback, always wanting to improve. While most teenagers are navigating school life and social circles, Quincy is building a professional career. And he's doing it with grace. Even with the bright lights on him, Quincy remains grounded in his roots. He credits his faith, his family, and his community for keeping him humble and focused. His story is inspiring a new generation of runners, especially young black athletes who now see someone their age dominating on the global stage. With the World Championships on the horizon, Wilson's performance in Tokyo could define the next phase of his career. If he continues on this trajectory, he won't just be the fastest teenager on the planet. He could become one of the greatest quarter-milers of all time.
Potomac, Maryland, this is Quincy Wilson.
What can we not say about this youngster? He runs with the maturity of someone a decade older than him.
How fast would a 17-year-old have to run to break records, stun Olympic coaches, and make the world stop and watch? Quincy Wilson didn't just answer that question. He shattered every expectation in his path. What he did on the track left even veteran athletes speechless, and it might just change the sport forever. At just 17 years old, Quincy Wilson has already shaken the very foundation of track and field. In an age where most teens are navigating high school drama and homework, this kid is rewriting history with every blistering step on the track. From humble beginnings to global headlines, Wilson's rise is as electrifying as his record-breaking sprints. Quincy Wilson's journey began in Chesapeake, Virginia. Recognizing his talent early, his parents, Monique and Roy Wilson, made a game-changing move, relocating to Gaithersburg, Maryland so he could attend the elite Bullis School in Potomac. Bullis isn't just any high school. Known for its powerhouse track program, it became Quincy's launching pad. Surrounded by top-tier coaching and fierce competition, he flourished. Every practice, every race was another step toward making history. By age 14, Quincy wasn't just participating, he was dominating. He racked up his 5th AAU Junior Olympic title in the 400 meters with a scorching time of 47.77 seconds. For context, that's faster than many collegiate athletes. His early performances hinted at something special, but even his coaches couldn't predict just how far he'd go. As his times dropped, the hype surged. Track insiders whispered his name as the next big thing. He wasn't just racing other teens, he was chasing records. And with every finish line he crossed, his story became more and more surreal. If 2023 was the year Quincy got noticed, 2024 was when he exploded into the spotlight. In March, he obliterated the under-18 indoor world best in the 400 meters, clocking a jaw-dropping 45.76 seconds. That time didn't just make headlines, it made history. And then came Gainesville.
To stay calm under pressure. Talking to him right before he qualified for the Olympics, he talked about missing a little bit of training because his sister was in the hospital.
In July, Wilson lined up for the 400 meters again, this time on the outdoor track. The result? An earth-shattering 44.20 seconds. That wasn't just the best time for someone his age, it was one of the fastest ever run by anyone in the world that year. The track community went wild. Social media lit up. Suddenly, a high schooler from Maryland was on the radar of every sports outlet across the globe. Even seasoned professionals were stunned. Coaches, analysts, and Olympic legends began dissecting his form, his pacing, his stride length. What they saw was a rare combination of raw talent and polished technique, something usually seen only in elite adults at the peak of their careers. Despite a strong showing, Quincy finished 6th at the U.S. Olympic trials in the 400 meter. That might have ended the Olympic dream for most, but Team USA had other plans. Recognizing his talent and potential, they selected him for the men's 4x400 meter relay team heading to Paris. That decision made Quincy the youngest male track athlete ever to represent the U.S. at the Olympics. He would go on to help the American 4x400 meter relay squad earn gold at the Stade de France, competing in the heats ahead of the event's final. He wasn't just tagging along for the ride. Quincy earned his place. His training sessions leading up to the Olympics were intense. His coaches pushed him, not because he was a kid with potential, but because he was now seen as a critical asset to the team. Quincy didn't flinch. He rose to the challenge. At the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris, Quincy lined up for the preliminary heat of the 4x400 meter relay. The stakes were sky high, and all eyes were on the teenage phenom. As the opening leg runner, Quincy set the tone for the team. Though he faced stiff competition and early nerves, he held his ground and helped secure a spot in the final.
What a finish from the 16-year-old! So he's going to have to rely on time. Right now, he is the top of the bubble and looking very good for a chance in the final. Bryce Deadman gets the win over Vernon Norwood. Woo! The crowd know what they just saw. And that's because that's...
Though he didn't run in the final itself, Olympic rules ensure that any athlete who participates in the heats gets a medal if their team wins. And that's exactly what happened. Team USA took gold in the final, and just like that, Quincy Wilson became the youngest male Olympic gold medalist in track and field history.
Team Quincy Wilson had a very different goal. And today he became the youngest male track competitor in U.S.
The moment was surreal. Standing on the Olympic stage, even in the background, was more than a dream. It was a statement. Quincy had arrived, and the world was officially on notice. What sets Quincy apart isn't just his times, it's his mindset. He's remarkably poised for his age, with a calm confidence that's rare in elite sports. Off the track, he's grounded, articulate, and thoughtful. On it, he's a beast. No gold medal. None of that is on my mind, he said. When I'm practicing, I'm worrying about my future goals, nothing in the past. I can't go and change what I've done. After his Olympic run, he quickly became a media sensation. Viral interviews, highlight reels, and social media shout-outs from A-list celebrities flooded in. Jay-Z even reached out to meet him. For a teenager, this could be overwhelming. But Quincy stayed focused, always turning the spotlight back on his team, his coaches, and the support system that got him here. He's also started mentoring younger athletes, kids not much younger than himself. He shows up to youth clinics, answers DMs from aspiring runners, and talks openly about the pressures of competing at a high level. Quincy isn't just breaking records. He's breaking down barriers and building a community. With high school still on his plate, Quincy's balancing AP classes and global fame, but his goals are crystal clear. He's got his eyes set on more than just track glory. He wants to be remembered not only as a champion, but as someone who inspired the next generation of athletes. College recruiters are knocking, sponsorship offers are rolling in, and the world is watching. But Quincy's not slowing down. He's already training for the next big milestone, aiming to compete individually at the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. If history is any guide, he won't just be there, he'll be a favorite. And yet, despite everything, Quincy remains remarkably humble. He still calls his parents before every race, still does his own laundry, still reminds people he's just a kid who loves to run. That grounded spirit might be his most powerful trait. What makes Quincy's story so compelling isn't just the medals or the records, it's the heart behind the hustle. He trains with humility, competes with passion, and lives with purpose. In a world often obsessed with overnight fame, Quincy's rise is a powerful reminder that real greatness comes from dedication and grit. He's not just inspiring young athletes, he's redefining what's possible at every age. Quincy Wilson destroyed the 400 meters, not just with his speed, but with his story. From a determined kid in Virginia to an Olympic gold medalist before his 18th birthday, he's living proof that age is just a number and limits are meant to be broken. Keep your eyes on Quincy Wilson, because if you think he's done making history, think again. This 17-year-old is just getting started. If stories like this blow your mind, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We've got even more unbelievable athlete stories coming your way. No one expected a high school junior to break one of the fastest records in U.S. track history, but when the clock stopped, the entire stadium was in shock. How did a 17-year-old run a time that even Olympians struggle to reach? A 17-year-old just ran 9.92 seconds in the 100-meter dash, and that single race changed everything we thought we knew about high school sprinting. For decades, breaking 10 seconds in the 100 meters was considered the ultimate barrier for junior athletes. It was rare, almost mythical. In 2014, Trayvon Brommel, as a college freshman, became one of the first U20 sprinters to break the 10-second barrier, running 9.97 at the NCAA championships. That mark stood not just as a record, but as a symbol of what was barely achievable at that age. Until recently, only a handful of juniors had ever dipped below 10 seconds, and none had done it in high school competition.
Whereas Christian Coleman is coming to the front and Brommel is trying to hold him off, and Brommel comes away again. It's going to be Brommel who's getting it from Cali, 9.93.
But in April 2024, Christian Miller shook up the sprinting world when he ran 9.93, breaking the national high school record and becoming the face of the new era of young speedsters. That record felt untouchable. It was fast, clean, and set against world-class competition at the Olympic trials. Everyone thought it would stand for years, maybe even a generation.
That went 993.
Then came May 3rd, 2025. At the UIL Class 6A State Championships in Austin, Texas, the track world witnessed something truly extraordinary. Tate Taylor, a junior from Harlan High School, lined up against one of the most stacked fields in high school history. One of the early favorites, Braden Williams, had already run an extremely fast wind-dated time, faster than any high schooler ever under those conditions.
There's a wind-legal 992 by Tate Taylor.
And yet, when the race started, it was Taylor who stole the show. Exploding out of the blocks with perfect form and unshakable focus, he surged ahead and never looked back. When he crossed the line, the clock read 9.92 seconds. Legal wind, national record, and second fastest U20 time in world history.
Here comes Tate Taylor. They're neck and neck. There goes Tate Taylor. I told you Tate Taylor was one that can.
Just like that, Christian Miller's historic 9.93 was no longer the standard. Tate Taylor had redefined it. But what makes this even more shocking is the trajectory that brought Taylor to this moment. In 2023, as a freshman, his best 100-meter time was 10.59. Solid, but far from historic. The next year, he dropped it to 10.28 and finished runner-up at state. Most athletes would be thrilled with that kind of progress. But Taylor wasn't done. In 2025, everything came together. His training intensified, his confidence matured, and the results, unthinkable. His 9.92 wasn't just a PR, it was a milestone, the second fastest time by any junior in history, behind only Botswana's Letsile Tebogo, who ran 9.91 and went on to win Olympic gold. It was also one of the fastest 100-meter times in the world so far this year, especially among juniors. That alone would have been enough to seal his name in history. But Taylor wasn't finished. Just hours after his jaw-dropping 100 meters, he stepped back on the track for the 200-meter final. You'd think fatigue would slow him down. Not even close. He clocked an unreal 20.14 seconds, smashing the Texas state meet record and landing third all-time on the U.S. high school list. Only legends like Noah Lyles and Roy Martin have run faster in high school.